Researchers have found an objective way to measure pain in patients. This is groundbreaking because for the longest time you've had that little scale from 1 to 10 and you hope for the best, and many people are not taking seriously. At the same time, this research could very easily be applied to giving robots pain, because that is something that is necessary, I think. We'll talk about it. Pain is considered to be subjective. 1 for one person may not be the same as 10 for another. At the same time, it's incredibly difficult to get treatment. I am someone who experiences chronic pain, only in part because L4 is wrecked. I am somebody who has a difficult time telling if something is broken or sprained. Part of that is because I've been in contact sports for much of my life. Last time I had a shoulder x-ray because I dislocated it. First off, I didn't really know it was dislocated. There were also quite a few healed rib fractures that I just didn't know happened. The doctor was concerned about the possibility of osteoporosis. No, that was not the case. I just can't tell. This phenomenon is often seen in chronic pain patients. Because you're in pain so much, so often, you just kind of get used to it. So if you have something new, you might not notice it. However, there may be a way to determine if somebody is experiencing pain, and it has to do with your brain and AI. Yep, AI can be used to decode the patterns of pain in your brain. Whether or not you're aware you are experiencing it and whether or not you can vocalize it, those neural pathways are still going to fire. This is something that AI excels at, finding patterns in noisy data. For all of the things that AI probably should not be used for, this is a fantastic use. The researchers proposed using this for the elderly and perhaps for very young children, but it could also be used for any individual. Imagine going to your doctor, putting on an EEG cap, and they believe you that things hurt. Now, one of the other options for studying pain makes me really very uncomfortable, and that is using brain organoids. Yes, the tiny human brains that you can grow in a literal jar if you want to. If you're new to that, yes, you can take skin cells or embryonic stem cells and you can grow them into a mini version of a human brain. It can be used for lots of things, including computation, but it's really applicable to medical research. And one thing that I don't love is giving them the capacity to feel pain. The little brain blobs can be made out of any part of the human brain that you want, or you can make them out of every part of the human brain and mash them together like Legos. It works. They make connections and they function together. They don't normally have the capacity to feel pain because they don't usually have a spinal cord, but they do have the capacity to have preference and comfort and discomfort, for lack of a better term. They seem to like and will be motivated towards completing goals if they are given ordered signals, and will be motivated towards not completing a goal if they get disordered signals. But you can, if you want to, give them a spinal cord, and that can be used to study the pathways of pain. This is, in my opinion, a step too far. Yes, brain organoids are enormously useful, but I don't think we should inflict suffering on them until we know for certain they're not suffering. Now, if you ask researchers about this, and I have, you'll get a variety of opinions, one of which is that we are so far away from ethics being a concern at all, we don't have to worry about it, and the other side would consider their welfare. We shouldn't intentionally cause harm to brain organoids, even if they're not having an experience in the way that we are, we shouldn't actively cause harm. But if you are wondering where the line is for me, this is the line. I think we should find other ways to study pain than this. Although I could be wrong and we could lose out on scientific research because I'm uncomfortable with it. So yeah, it's complicated. But how does this come back to artificial intelligence? Well, one theory is that if you want something that is truly intelligent, it has to be able to monitor its internal state. And in order to do that, you have to have discomfort. So pain would be something that would push an AI towards consciousness, potentially. There is also the idea that a robot has to care about human beings more than just having rules which could be bypassed, but experience pain when they see somebody else in pain. This is empathy. Some people are trying to give AI morals by giving them religion. Yes, Anthropic, the makers of Claude, have consulted with religious leaders about creating religion for AI. Rather, they want to create AI that has morality. And I really think hiring religious people to try to give AI morality is misguided at best. I don't think we really have enough evidence that religion is associated with good ethics. Now, to the benefit for many of these companies, which includes Anthropic and OpenAI, they have hired on mental health professionals to help maintain their models. Anthropic has stated that it is more than just for their models' interactions with the public, because they should be able to interact with the public in a way that doesn't do harm, but also to make sure their AI is sane. There is a new field, which is machine psychology, which I am just delighted by the fact that it exists, and they can actually hire human mental health professionals to work with them. Because AI is built off of all of mankind's knowledge, they act like us, essentially, and can suffer from some of the same issues, albeit in a different form. I am using the term suffer pretty liberally here for lack of a better way to define these things, because you could say misaligned, but most of the research has been focused on how AI tends to make people insane. They tend to induce psychosis, but it is a synergistic reaction. When somebody is speaking to an AI, they can tend to drift. They can kind of lose touch with reality, and then the person also loses touch with reality, and all of it spirals. Either way, however that issue is solved, I really don't think that giving AI religion is going to end up solving any problems for AI ethics. I hope you've enjoyed this. Follow for more.